way I've sort of sustained myself was through YouTube. It was putting food on the table, fuel in the tank, and food in the dog bowl. This is the main sort of living space, the van dock, if you like. And I want something to park my van up against and just walk straight out of the door onto. We as a society live in convenience now, so you have to sacrifice a lot of that, but what you get back in return is 10 times better.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're meeting up with CJ, you might know him as Project Amber, and he's living in his ambulance on his land in Portugal.
It's amazing what he's created here in Portugal, so definitely stick around because we get to see exactly what's going on here. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you think. Back to it.
Hi, I'm CJ. We're on my plot of land in the woods in Portugal. This is my zombified ex-ambulance. I'm a content creator slash ex-YouTuber, I guess would be the title. And I'm here with my dog Lance. So I started out your average factory worker, worked in the Aston Martin factory. Then it was a lot of coach building work, building camper vans and stuff. And that was a really sort of rewarding job, but I'd see these vans get finished and then go off on their adventures, and it was just sort of like, I want a bit of a slice of that. So yeah, I just started looking at vans really. The van life thing was quite small back then, but there was enough of it to sort of give me some ideas. And it was like, yeah, I could do something different, it doesn't just have to be a panel van. Quick look on eBay, joking about with friends, you could look at all sorts of things, maybe an ambulance, and that was 15 minutes down the road. They wanted 2 grand for it, and before I knew it, I owned an ambulance. Took it to the pub the first day, and my friends were like, what have you done? It was supposed to just go around one trip of Europe, 9 months trip, sort of find myself and all that cliche crap. And I just fell in love with the lifestyle. There's something just clicked on that trip. I was like, I love this. This is freedom. At the same time, I started making silly little videos on YouTube. No idea where that'd go. And it just, yeah, I found something. Something just clicked in me. I was like, I don't want to go back to 9 to 5. I don't want to be stuck in a house paying off rent, never seeing that money again. So the van stuck around, got rebuilt, and it just, yeah, we just kept going. So I bought the land after COVID. Living in a van in England during that time was interesting. But yeah, it just sort of opened us all up to what's at stake if stuff like that can happen. And not having a place to call a base was a really quite a scary thing. Like we were in Scotland, we got chased out of Scotland. Lockdown sort of finished, and me and my friends Ash and Marie, we have this joke now that we both left England. I went 1,500 miles south, they went 1,500 miles north, and we're literally either end of Europe now. They got their base, I got this. And it is literally just, for me, it's a playground. It's somewhere to park the van, plan the next trip, tinker and learn stuff. But I just love being here. As you guys have seen it, it's somewhere just to chill and reset. So this is the entrance. It's about 1.5 acres, basically just a big triangle. So it starts off in that corner, joins us here, goes off up into the woods. My little pizza slice. So last year we had a huge fire. I think it was 45,000 hectares burnt. We were just doing our usual thing, saw like the cloud of smoke, put our evacuation plan into place, and we were gone. But then the fire split into 4 fronts and overwhelmed the fire service. And it just, yeah, the entire mountain went over the other side of the mountain. It was huge. You can see it from space, and yet the BBC got all the information wrong. But, that's the BBC for you. This is our little outhouse. Do you want to have a look?
Alright guys, so this channel wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors, and today, that's HelloFresh.
One of the things that I love about this time of year is slowing down, spending time with loved ones, and of course, amazing food. But let's face it, meal prep, shopping and planning can be a lot when life's already busy. And that's why HelloFresh has been a game changer for me. HelloFresh delivers everything you need, from fresh pre-portioned ingredients to easy to follow recipe cards. They're festive recipes like those in the festive flavours range. Make it super simple to savour the season without spending hours in the kitchen.
So what I love most is the new and improved customization options. Whether you're a meat eater, a pescatarian or a veggie, there's something for everyone. It's stress-free and nobody's arguing what's for dinner, just great food with the people that you love.
December is all about those cosy moments, whether it's a festive dinner or a quiet night in. HelloFresh helps you enjoy those moments without the stress. And right now, HelloFresh has an incredible offer, 60% off your first box as well as free desserts for life. Available for new customers and those who have cancelled at least 12 months ago. Use our code 60liberation and the link below, or scan the QR code on the screen now to get your deal.
So with free desserts for life, it's a deal that surely cannot be missed. So thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video, and with that, back to it.
Do you want to have a look? You have to have a poo with a view. So we've got a little window here, so you can have a seat on the carsy and look out on the place, you know. So the solids are collected in a bucket. They obviously given time to dry out, and then it goes into compost. And the fluids, they will just drain out of the side and then feed all these bushes. But being a bloke, I don't tend to pee in there anyway. I'll just go anywhere. So this is the main field. Guests with their vans can come onto here. We've got the guest caravan, or the pleborium as it's known. So we've got 25 olive trees, 2 pear trees, an orange tree, a load of figs and grapevines. So there's quite a bit of fruit grows when you have a less harsh summer than what we've had. So this is my workshop trailer. It's an old BT open reach at the back of a transit. Tarted it up to look like the van, and we did the 1,500-mile drive here. That's my wood shop, all my machinery, charging station. It's got its own independent batteries and solar, which also feeds the shed. The shed was here originally, although you wouldn't have known because the bushes literally hid it. But it is literally just a shed. It's got wheelbarrows, it holds the generator. But yeah, I've got a little generator over there which feeds all the way down to the vans. So there's 2 points to charge 2 vehicles. Everything's redundancies out here, so if that dies, we've got a backup generator. All of the machinery that currently, until we get proper rain, can't be used because they're all petrol powered. But yeah, once we get some decent rain, all of the land can start be tended to again. So this is the back of the trailer. This is my base. Spent many a time in here just tinkering. This is where you'll always find me if the van's empty. And then moving around, this is quite a new addition. It's just to keep the wood from the elements really. I tend to take 1 or 2 trees down a year, get them chopped up, and then a year later, they're good to burn. So that's like my favourite sort of time of year. Take a tree down, get it all chopped up with a chainsaw, and all of that gets done here. Nothing's really wasted, so the bark gets crunched up and turned into paths and stuff like that. This is my e-bike. That's literally free transport because that battery gets put into the shed and the solar charges the battery. So it's literally as free energy as you can get. And that's the bit, every time I'm on it, I'm like, this comes from the sun. So I love it.
A wind generator, wind turbine.
Yeah, is it going? No, it was going earlier. Oh, yeah. She's a bit old. It was given to me from a subscriber, a really nice guy. I think it produces up to 10 amps when it's on full chat. But yeah, when it's going, it's day and night. You know, the sun goes away, but the wind doesn't. So yeah, again, another redundancy on power. So this is another little project that we had on the list of things we wanted to do. Basically a tree platform. We wanted something to mostly have shade. One thing about this land is when the sun's directly up in the middle of the day, there really isn't that much shade because of the pine trees. So the plan was not only to have something to sit on top, but I don't know if you can see the rope. It's where we hang our hammocks. And yeah, when it's the hottest part of the day, this is a nice breezy area to come and just get out of it. But also it's hosted friends in tents that have camped up there. It's hosted little parties. But yeah, I love it up there. You almost forget where you are. It's a very different biome, if you like, to the rest of the land.
Does Lance like this like?
He loves it out here, I think. He seems to know the boundaries of the land. So I can just open the door in the morning before I've fully woken up and got my coffee. And he'll just sort around for his morning poo and, you know, check around the place, do the perimeter check. And it's just really nice to be able to sort of leave him to be wild, basically. You know, he is the freest a dog can be. This used to be They used to just store the olives in it basically. On the harvest seasons, they'd fill this with water, put all the olives in it, and it'd give them that little bit of extra time to get them off and sold, basically, preserve the olives. And now it's the dog's pool. We've got the well that's now covered, a pump in the very bottom of that, and it just pumps water into this, and it's mostly just to keep the dog cool. If you look in that corner, you can see sort of the stone walls. So although it isn't the cleanest drinking, it's a surprisingly clean well for out here. And this is the main sort of living space, the van dock, if you like. The one thing that I went into thinking that's what I want when I buy land. I want something to park my van up against and just walk straight out of the door onto. Recent addition was the 465 watt panel. And yeah, that's really saving the day at the minute. That sort of plugs into the van with an Anderson plug so you can detach it. The power is basically endless now. It's crazy how much that's helped. And then you've got the little port there that feeds all the way to the generator. So at night or on the bad days, you have yourself some petrol powered PlayStation. The change of pace has chilled me out a lot. Yeah, I was always quite, not a stress head, redhead, so, you know, hot head. But yeah, I found myself a lot more chilled. The thing I was missing in life was sort of getting around and seeing stuff. And I found that's where I'm happiest, you know, out roaming. There was a really rough period of life. It's like a 2-3 year thing. I got caught up in 2 crash for cash scams within 2 weeks of each other. So I was getting sued. Work, I had a really horrible boss before the nice boss. My car got taken off the road, insurance written off. Yeah, it was a time. And that sort of really pushed the move really. And I think it was a big eye opener because I went from that horrible time, almost rock bottom. Everyone says, you know, the rock bottom thing's the hard bit, but a lot of the time it's where you need to go because all these belief systems, all of these things, you need to get rid of that. You need to really hit a low point. And then away you go. The way I've sort of sustained myself was through YouTube. Started a channel, had no idea at the time, as I suppose most people do, that eventually it'd get popular and take off. But yeah, what I did worked and I was able to start not earning massive amounts, but it was putting food on the table, fuel in the tank and, you know, food in the dog bowl. Recent times with YouTube, I sort of took a bit of a back seat. When you sort of vlog and your house is a part of the makeup of the channel and your dog and everything, people sort of get to know you. It was amazing and I've made amazing friends and, you know, it's been, I haven't regretted a single part of it, but it did sort of sacrifice some privacy and more as the channel got bigger, it become a little bit of a problem. Like I've met hundreds of lovely people. There's been a handful of less lovely people and there's been an even smaller handful of absolute psychopaths. And when they're at your front door of your home, it's a bit like, oh crap. So yeah, there's multiple factors that made me step away from YouTube, and I still loved making videos. That was the whole thing I really loved doing, was the editing process, making a story out of some of the silly little things we get up to. And I wanted to continue that. So that's why the move to Patreon happened. I've managed to sort of limit the exposure. I don't have to put my life out to hundreds of thousands of people. It's a small niche, a small community of people that want to be there. It was a risk and it was nerve-wracking because I was literally just walking away from a job basically. But yeah, it panned out and that's now how I keep the ball rolling really. So this is Amber, my 2004 Mercedes Sprinter ex-ambulance. I kind of saved it from the scrapyard. It's safe to argue that it was ready for the scrapyard, but you know, it limped on. It's a little on the big side, and with the addition of the upstairs bedroom, that's like an old Luton cowling that I fitted. It's a little cumbersome, but you wouldn't know from the way I drive it. I just give it some. I like the size of it. I don't think I could downgrade anymore, but I wouldn't go any bigger, put it that way. It's sort of, for me, it's the perfect size for where I take it, what I do with it. So we've got some extra sort of auxiliary lights, because if you own a Sprinter, you'll know the headlights, not good. So yeah, aux beam, main beam, got a couple of lights down here, and side lights at night, that when you're off-road, they'll light the way. That's the mains, that's the solar. That one's a little temporary, needs sorting out. In the event that the van does get stuck, got the recovery boards, and as you can see, they have been used quite a lot. Gas locker and all sorts of spares and bits and bobs. refillable gas for the LPG. These things, when you flip them both up, that's my washing line. Windows, a new addition. So the paint is battleship grey, literally what they paint battleships in. It gets knocked about, bashed up. I don't know if you can see there. Throughout the years, it's been touched back in, but that was the whole point of the van really, because I knew I was going to take it off-road. I knew I was going to knock it about, and there's nothing more liberating than just, oh, I've damaged the van, just, and then carry on. And, you know, I'm not precious about it at all, and because of that, I get to take it some really gnarly places. So up top, that is a homemade deck, and it just sort of frames around the solar panels and stuff. And the biggest accidental bonus of it is it's now created an air gap like that from the sun. So here, even though the roof of the van's black, the sun really doesn't get to the roof, so it doesn't get as hot as it would in there without it. So back of the van, part of the livery, you know, to honour the ambulance was re-putting on the chevrons. Again, just as utilitarian, got the jerry can, spare wheel, saved my ass a few times. This was a new addition, thanks to a lovely friend of mine, Paul, who's just a god with welder. So this obviously brought the trailer, that's down over there. That was the main reason for building it, to get the trailer here. And then now its most job is, yeah, holding the bike rack, so the bike can come with me on the trips. The door can open for them, you know, van life, back door views, but it's a bitch to close, in all honesty. It's a bit broken. I don't think that even works anymore. So yeah, that door sort of stays closed. I said the lifestyle is pretty cheap. The plot of land was cheap. Obviously this plot of land isn't habitation licensable, so you can't build houses and stuff like that, hence why it's cheap. Because I live in a vehicle on a chassis, everything here is on a chassis, it's not permanent structure. I'm not here full time, you know, I'm obviously off doing trips and going home to visit family, MOT and this thing. And yeah, but I find it, you can do things here on a budget. My only bill is the yearly land tax of 34 euros and my phone bill of 20 euros. And that's it. Obviously, I'm completely off grid here. So electrics, we've got solar. There's the generator in the shed for the less than pleasant days. Water, there's the well for most stuff. And Lance, excuse me. See, now you're getting a window into my life. Between all the silky footage, it's trying to keep Lance from licking cameras and all that stuff. Yeah, the bills are minimal. Obviously, if I go and get bricks and mortar, there's council tax, electric bills, if I want them, all that sort of stuff. But again, it's the cost of living here is a lot cheaper than England. The favourite thing here is the peace and quiet. When you're here and there's not much wind, you get a couple of bird songs. The level of quietness almost sort of gets in your ear. It's that quiet and it's that peaceful. There's nothing like it. Flip side of that is when I go back to the UK, I can't even walk into a Tesco now. Just the sound of the beep and the kids, and I'm just like, wow, sensory overload. But no, I love the peace here. And then as it gets to night time, there's no light pollution here. And you can just sit here with the coffee and just, the Milky Way is literally overhead. It's just insane. Least favourite, it's probably a mix between the super rainy period. The tracks will get so bad that it's quite a long track. And sometimes, yeah, it'll get stuck or you just don't want to attempt it because it's that bad. Mixed with the height of summer when it's like 46 degrees and you live in a tin can. I mean, that was the big push for the aircon unit. I bought secondhand off a friend start of the year because I was like, I'm never doing a summer here without it. Like, it's just impossible. So yeah, the extremes of the weather is probably the downside. A lot of the Portuguese off-grid content misses sometimes, just how much of a struggle it can be. So the deck's made a few different iterations. When Lance had his injury, fortunately hurt his back start of the year. So I made a ramp, but then the ramp nearly broke my back because it rained and I went shooting down it. So yeah, third iteration of the steps, third time lucky. We've got a little bench here that also doubles up as sort of recycling box storage and all sorts of different storage and stuff. guest parking now, I suppose. I've got a friend coming in 2 weeks, so this is where he'll be staying. And then my bit, the main bit, is where I like to stay. Most of the time, especially in the sort of summer, cooking in the van is oh, you know, you've got the flame on in an already hot van. So usually there's like a big table here with like a hob, and we'll cook out here, eat out here. More you can do in the summer heat until, you know, the sun goes behind the mountain, the better. And then it starts to cool off and you can go back in there. But yeah, a lot of time is spent outside just to, well, why wouldn't you? Okay, come on, have a look on in the truck. So we've got the main sort of switches here. That's the main kill switch for the van. Water pump, main lights, mood lighting. A couple more control panels over here as well for various lights. In this little box is my toilet, shower, shoilet as I call it. I call it that because you can literally shower while you're on the toilet, and that's, I don't know, a little bonus to me. Tiny little door into the cab. Yeah, this whole area was a slight compromise. Door couldn't come up and this hatch couldn't come down. Yeah, it's sort of two hobbit entrances to two different things. These ladders were built temporary, and 6 years later they're still here. But yeah, that's basically up and in. You sort of got to wiggle your butt cheeks to get in there, but other than that you can get in. And once you're in, it looks quite small from this angle, but if you can see from the skylight, it's quite tall in there. So it's a lovely little sort of cocooned place. I love to just get up in there and read sometimes. Got two little back windows out the back as well. So there's a water tank out underneath the vehicle that pumps under these cupboards. There's a water pump here, and then yeah, that feeds both the sink and comes along here and feeds the shower as well. There's a little water boiler in there, and that's instant. I think within 5 seconds you've got yourself hot shower water. So I can use the well water technically, mostly used for the land, but through free filters it can be used for shower water. You can technically drink it, but there's, I don't know, I'm a bit like that with it. So for the van's tank, usually if I'm going through to town, there's fountains and water points in every single village in Portugal. It's completely free to get. So I'll just top the tank up when I'm sort of doing my weekly shop, and one tank will last me about a week and a half. So that's what gets me by until the next shopping trip and stuff like that. So this is my little tiny kitchen. It really is small, like we were saying about the cupboards being shallow earlier. Kitchen's just as small, so I had to sort of get a bit creative with ideas. So worktop there, more worktop, the hob, come out of an old caravan. So much of this van, the sofa that's behind us, is reclaimed stuff. All this cabin, the sort of worktop, it all looks nice, but it was all either free or super cheap. So like,
how much did the whole build cost?
The whole build, I don't really know, because it's been 6 years now and this interior's changed a lot. The van cost 2 grand. I sold so much of the ambulance stuff, like the seats, the stretchers, some special clock thing, and that got me 1,000 back. So the van only cost me 1 grand. And then I think the build probably cost just over 4. So 5 grand camper basically. But over the years, you know, it's now got lithium batteries, more solar on the roof. Things have been upgraded and just slowly made better. Who really knows what it cost? Make money, put it straight in the van. Got the fridge, got me spices and God knows what for the cooking area. Got the Starlink. When I live out here, you know, it's a need more than a want. It was not a cheap purchase at all, but out here the signal's it's just not there. So when you work online, that was an expenditure. Lights all around the side of the van, so you got a control there and a control in the cab. That come in very handy 4 weeks ago when I got broken into. So all the lights went on, the dog barked, me and my pants, like, "Whoa, what?" And they were soon gone. Inverter, diesel heater. This was the old ambulance switches. They don't do anything anymore. It's the same in the cab, they remained. Just little tiny things I wanted to keep to, you know, sort of hint back to what the van used to do. So this entire back wall, barring being sterilised and rewrapped, is the original ambulance stuff. All this aluminium, it was just so well built. Everything's sort of interlocked with these special locking mechanisms. Everything was built professionally, and it's actually almost part of the structure of the van, so it made no sense to rip it out and put it with my haphazard wood skills to build something there. More storage, each cupboard's got its own sort of job. That's Lance's cupboard, one of the biggest obviously. Got the TV, and this is sort of like my office space if you like. Those 2 cupboards hold the laptops and the hard drives and all of the work stuff. And this is where I spend most of my day. I've extended the sofa now. This whole floor used to come to here. Lance used to have to sort of clamber up there to go back down. After his injury, we had to sort of tweak the van to his needs, so now his bed's there and he doesn't have to jump up 2 levels. A little secret compartment stayed. Got the PS4 up there and sort of more sort of gaming stuff. I used to be very limited on my gaming, which arguably was a good thing because it forced me outside. Now with lithium, I do find myself nerding a little bit too much. But the fact that it's doable is just mental. I love the fact that I'm way out here on a mountainside and I can just log on, talk to my mates, and we can just play some games together. Going back to your question about does it get lonely, the interconnectivity of the internet and technology now has sort of alleviated that a bit. That's the new aircon unit. It's changed living here. It's survivable in the winter, in the summer now. And then, yeah, the focal point of the van, the log burner. I was a bit of a pyromaniac as a kid. I used to love chimneys and, you know, having little fires. So that sort of had to go in. And when I did it, it still wasn't really a thing. Now you look all over Instagram and every van's got a log burner. But when I did it, oh my God, did I get some ridicule. Everyone was like, you've bought an ambulance, you've lost the plot, and now you've put a fire inside of it. Like, it's just, but it's amazing just to be able to go into the middle of nowhere, pick up some dead wood, chuck it in and just have heat. You can't beat the heat off a fire. You can put this on and it'll do the job, but that thing, you've got the crackle, you've got the light. I won't even have the TV on, I'll just be here feeding it and, you know. Being here alone is a relatively new thing. So me and my partner split 4 months ago now. Because I spent so long living in the van before I got into a relationship, I was fine being on my own. Obviously we're creatures of comfort and, you know, repetition. So that's been something I've been easing back into. But I've always liked my own company. I've got this little guy and he's, as you've seen today, he's enough to keep you occupied and entertained. And I've got enough friends here now. If he gets too weird and too lonely, I'll just fancy a beer and like, yeah.
Do you think that this life is for everyone?
No, I wouldn't say so. In fact, I've seen a lot of people move to Portugal. They've done one summer and you don't hear from them again. They've gone home. It's, it can be tough when you have to physically go and get your water or, you know, filter it 3 times from the well and sort it out. There's certain aspects that I love and I thrive on, and a lot of people do love it. But I don't think people quite realise the level. You know, you can't just flick on a tap and it be endless. You can't just have an endless shower because you have to go and replenish that water. Power, if you have a bad day and you've drained your batteries because you've been an idiot and nerded, you can't just plug in, you know, you have to go and refuel the generator, wait for the sun. There's so many little things about it that's just not convenient. We as a society live in convenience now. So you have to sacrifice a lot of that, but what you get back in return is 10 times better. I don't know how good I am at offering advice because I seem to face plant through life. So you could learn from my mistakes, I suppose. I guess be prepared for some real highs and some real lows. When it gets real difficult and you want to quit, you're not the only one. There's been plenty of times where I've thought, I'm going home, sod this. Be ready for lots and lots of adversity, but massive rewards as well. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed seeing the way I live out here. You can find me on Instagram, Project Amber. You can see the backlog of most of my older videos on YouTube, and for all the newer stuff and, in my opinion, better stuff, that's on Patreon, also under Project Amber. And it'll be linked below.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in there, and a big thanks to CJ for sharing a story with us and showing us around.
Make sure to follow him on all the socials. Everything will be linked down below in the description. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you think. And if you want to see more episodes just like this one, then make sure you're subscribed. See you in the next one.